basically if the swells get too big, you pull a drogue out, which is behind this little boat. And it allows you to go up and down these waves straight. Because if they get too big and you go down straight, the whole boat will jackknife and roll down what is technically a mountain of water. And then everybody's strapped on outside. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. I mean, you're probably going to get hit by something. So, I mean, this was by far the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life.
What's up, everybody? I'm Peanut Tillman, and this is the NFL Players Second Acts podcast. With me, as always, as my trusty co-host, Roman I Smoke Harper.
You can't say that.
Oh, no, I can't say that?
No.
Oh, I thought that's what the shirt meant.
No, the shirt is just Smokey the Bear.
Oh, I thought that's because it was smoking. It was...
It's okay. It's all right. Let's talk about our guest that we have. He's already been on before. I love this guy. Like, genuinely love this guy. He was a teammate of mine. I watched this man grow into the man that he is today, and we can't say enough great things about him. So
I've seen this dude destroy individuals on the defensive side of the ball, just like
no doubt about it.
Just running through cats all day long. He recently just rode across the Arctic Ocean. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the pod, Mr. Jimmy Graham.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all having me. I appreciate it.
And I like how he's just appreciate it, guys. He's got the cool man.
Well, I think Jimmy grew up. He wasn't cool growing up. And then he's now cool. Like Jimmy Graham is.
He's so cool. He just walks in.
Well,
He got the one button on. He just I got all mine buttoned to the top. He got the one on. So it's
and his is like barely holding on buttons too.
barely just popping out that thing.
But I've seen Jimmy when he had the red afro though. See, I've seen that picture. Not everybody's seen that picture.
Yeah.
So.
I ain't seen the red afro.
You ever seen it?
No.
Oh yeah, it was.
It
was about like a foot of just red curls. It was
okay.
Yeah, I mean popularity, but I mean people try to get me to bring it back. The only reason I did that was because they said I was too short to be in ACC playing 4. So then with that, I was 6'9". So
that's what it was.
Yeah,
so it was just trying to be tall enough to hit the mark.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's talk about one thing we do have in common. We were both retired. Yeah. Right? Like so crazy. You kind of announced like, unofficially or officially that, you know what, I'm done. I'm finally done with football. Because you've still been able to come back and catch touchdowns because you're
tall.
Jimmy Graham. Yeah, I mean, you're Jimmy Graham. Like so.
I just headbutt people and turn around, man.
Yeah, it's like what it is, and I'm glad I didn't have to deal with it anymore. Could you maybe talk about like, how'd you feel about that? Like, what was the emotions behind it? Like, where you at mentally, and just like finally just getting that out of the way? Yeah,
it happened right up to the row. So, I was in a good mental space to be there, and for me, I think really going back that last year in New Orleans was big for me, right?
Let bygones be bygones.
Yeah, there's always people that talk about it, and obviously it's always been on my mind. What would happen if I stayed, right? Most likely, probably Super Bowl, and we would have, me and Drew would have shot every record in the book. I have no doubt about that. Just from our connection, and people think that that was natural. First off, he had all those, good young years in my legs when I was able to run 20 routes after practice, right? One, he demanded that from me, and he taught me that's how you do it. So our connection was built over many, many years and many routes between me, him, and Colston. I mean, it was crazy.
You guys are making stuff up. I know I practiced.
Making stuff up.
Just making it up.
Well, a lot of that too was me not knowing what was going on, right? so I would say like my first 2 years, I mean, I still learning the rules. Like I still had to figure out what defenses were. Like I see something new, and in the end, my thing was always, it's 1 high, 2 high, and if you can't figure it out, just get open. So Drew was good with finding me when I got open. Some other teams didn't like that. But being able to go back and, connect with the city, score a little bit, get that feeling back in that dome, really connect with, not only, some guys that I played with in the past, obviously Cam, just being back with him was awesome. But also, New Orleans is very unique because they still have people in the building from back when I was there, back when you were there, it's a family run business. So, even though coaching staff might change, that third floor is still the same. Right. So, being able to connect to, all these people that knew me, when I was the hyper competitive, still nice to everybody, but, just on the field, I was just a different human. But, being able to connect with them and process that a little bit. And one of the biggest things was when I got that house that year, my CFO, he actually found it for me. We rented it because on one of the only places you could have like fully furnished. And I remember walking up the third steps and I looked out the window and I saw this building. And I remember looking into the windows and I'm like, that looks like a government facility. And then I literally text my boy. I was like, hey, what's that across the street from us? And he's like, oh, it's a place called Covenant House, blah, blah. So I said, listen, before I leave this city, I want to make sure I do something for these kids. Now I thought I was going to go over and talk to them, but for me, we did something much bigger for them. I'm going to go at the end of this month and talk to them about my experience and give them some words of encouragement on what they're going through. But really that was for me, that was kind of, the big finale of why I really just need to move on, focus on business and, just move on with my life because, this body can only do but so much. And, I just need to use my brain now.
Was it important for you to say, like, I want to make sure the Saints, like I retire, like with the Saints.
Yeah.
Was that important to you?
Yeah. I would say that was one of the most important things in my career. One, because of, how I left, right? I left angry, right? When I got that phone call that I was getting transferred, first I was like, you can do that? I was like, I just got paid, but that was not in my thoughts whatsoever. I thought we were going to just continue to just smack people and put up 50.
What year did you get to New Orleans?
2010.
10. Okay. So
yeah.
Missed, okay.
Yeah. So people think I was there for like 10 years, but I was only there 5, but we had a lot of touchdowns.
It was a lot. It was a lot of touchdowns, a lot of goal.
It was electric.
It was electric. Really good years.
Yeah. It was electric. But, for me, I knew that I obviously needed to grow up and be more of a man, and just not hold on to some of that stuff, because in the end, everything that I experienced in the city, everything I experienced on that team, everything I experienced with my teammates, my coaches, and that staff was some of the best years of my life. I got drafted into New Orleans after they won a Super Bowl. And now you got this redheaded mixed kid with freckles coming in who doesn't know nothing about football, is drafted in the 3rd round, to play tight end. You already have Jeremy Shockey. Why are we drafting a tight end? I'll never forget these things. And then, I had a bunch of people who just believed in me, even though I didn't believe in myself, right? So, just being able to go back and retire as a Saint, with number 80, it was a big deal for me because I went from being a little boy to a grown man, and that happened because of that city and really the teammates I had, right? Like yourself, like Jonathan Vilma, like Jari Evans, like Carl Nix, like I could keep going, but I'm gonna stop. Obviously Drew Brees, and all of that really pushed me to be a better person, really pushed me to be the best player I could be. And, that's something that I'll always be grateful for. And I'm just proud to be a New Orleans Saints, as I retire.
What was the emotion that you felt when you found out, when you got that phone call? What was the first emotion? Not just, oh, you can do that? But like, what did you feel?
Rage. For me, none of this would have happened if I would have just gotten paid. Right. So I tracked back to 2 years before that, Aaron Hernandez, Rob Gronkowski, they both get paid early, right? Before they go into year 3. And I've got better shots than everybody in the world. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm good. I signed this deal. So I'm going to go into my last year. Maybe we'll figure something out. We go into the last year and they say, listen, there's no reason to pay you because we're just going to franchise you twice and get rid of you because you'd be 30. Well, that's a problem. Especially the way that I played, right? Because I didn't care about my body. I was, I was the type of person that if you had said something in the media to me before the game, I would run backwards to hit you. I was just doing dumb stuff like that randomly just because I was too emotionally charged. And so then that season ends. So I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna figure something out. And this whole thing about just franchising me because it doesn't matter and I'm about to be 30. And then Vilma, said, I bet you won't see this through. So obviously I have to. So that goes into like 6 months of, the media, saying I wanted 14.5 million, saying I want 13. I didn't want any of that stuff. That never came out of my mouth. I told the Saints, listen, you pay me $1 more than Gronk, I'm gonna sign it. I just wanted $1 more. Just out of principle, because I was, because I had
was better. You know your
that's
worth.
Facts. Well, I mean, I had every stat humanly possible.
Yeah.
So
you should be the number one team.
Yeah.
You should be Pele.
Yeah. So then after all that, then they end up paying me, and then I came back, and they tried to destroy me. And in the physical fitness test, the first day we get back, I killed that because I haven't been sitting in Miami on the beach. I've been working with Swayze, so I'm ready for it. So that whole season goes through, and they tell me, hey, we're going to find you some help on offense, because at the time we're kind of struggling a little bit. We're trying to figure things out. So I was actually, I was in the plane. I had gone to the beach, and I was chilling, and I got this Sean Payton call. And I was like, what? So I picked it up, and I was like, hey, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be a big deal for me. I've never done a trade to this. I was like, trade? Like, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, we're about to trade you to Seattle. And I'm thinking of Seattle, they hate me.
Yeah, because you've been
killing them.
I've been talking so much cash to them every game we play, win or lose. I remember scoring in Seattle and then dunking the ball, and Mike Bennett comes up to me, and I don't even remember what I said, but it was not nice. Beyond disrespect, where it was in my face. I fought one of their guys before the game even started in the playoffs. So I'm thinking, I'm not going there. So first thing I thought was like, well, because I had a grade 3 AC separation, so I was like, well, I'm gonna go get surgery. I'm gonna make sure I can't leave, right? But then in the end, they just went to the Super Bowl. So I'm like, well, I do want a ring, and I know them boys are ready. Play with Marshawn, Legion of Boom, Russ, all these guys. I'm ready. But at first I was so locked into, I was just mad, man, mad in every way.
Yeah,
and just really kind of like, how is this even possible? Like I didn't know you could sign somebody to a max deal and then trade them away a year later. So
yeah,
I'm actually glad you found peace with all that, though.
Yeah,
I'm really glad to hear you said. I know you alluded to it a little earlier.
Well, you got to understand. I was in the locker room with Jimmy, and trust me. So like, he's not lying. Like, I watched Jimmy come in. He literally had what seemed like way more freckles and like so raw. He was a basketball player that like we took in the 3rd round. Like, nobody even had football film on him for real. And he starts hitting the weight room with JV. He's learning and trying to take care of Shockey when Shockey's in Shockey mode. Yeah. And he grows into this outstanding player for us. I see him catching touchdowns every week. He's spiking the ball. He's flexing on them. He grew like right in front of us. And the whole contract thing was getting out of control in the best year that you were having. Yeah. It was like crazy.
That's 16 touchdowns.
Yeah. And I'm literally like, are we going to get this deal done?
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I don't know, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I'm about to become your agent.
I should have.
And go upstairs and tell Mickey, like, what's up? Yeah. Because it really was a thing, and nobody could shy away from it because it was starting to become larger and larger. And I had that same feeling when I left, when they released me and I left. Yeah. How angry I was for 2 years. Yeah. Just angry, hated the organization because you feel like you gave so much, and the team acted like they loved you so much. Yeah. The city loves you. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, whenever they're done with you, they're done with you. And you're just supposed to be cool with it. And so to then be able to come back a couple years later, I always think it's so important to like let bygones be bygones. Yeah. And I was very appreciative. Like when I came back and saw you, and I'm with my son, and you sit up here and tell my son, like, dude, your dad was baller. Like, da-da-da. And my son's like, why is he saying that about you, Dad? Like,
it's true.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, but to see you back in the black and gold, it was great. Yeah. To like, I was so happy to see you have that moment because a lot of us, we don't ever get to go back and be able to do those things. And I love the words that you've used and chosen to use to describe all that, because it was a highly charged, highly emotional thing to see you. And then you got hurt in Seattle, unfortunately. And, you know, and then from there, like whatever your career was, it was, you know, and you were just a touchdown maker.
Yeah,
and
basically.
So, you was a baller?
Yeah.
Yeah, his words.
Facts. No, facts.
All right,
facts.
It was, man.
Well, like he was an okay of a baller.
That's what my son says. That's exactly
when you look back. out of all the plays you've had, what's one play that stands out in your mind?
One place. Okay.
Just give me one play that stands out in your mind. Just like, yeah, I did that. Like, oh, that was dope. I just killed it.
So I got one play, and I got my like NFL, like welcome to the NFL moment.
Okay, go.
So the one that I really remember was it was my rookie year. We're playing in Atlanta, and we need to win this game to go to playoffs. Right, we're the defending Super Bowl team. So we're probably like 4 or 5 yard line, third down. Sean calls timeout. We go to the sideline. And Sean asked Drew, what do you want to do? And he says, oh, I want to throw it to the big kid. And I'm looking around like, who's the big kid? You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, Reggie Bush, Jeremy Shockey, Marcus Colston, Devery Henderson, Robert Meacham, and one of the best O-lines that ever lived, they all looking at me. And I'm like, oh, that's me. And, I really don't understand much about football at the time, right? And so I knew at that moment, I was like, if I catch this, I'm on my way. And if I don't, I'll probably never get another chance ever again in my life. I knew how important that was. Mm-hmm. One, we need to go to playoffs. But two, if this doesn't go right for me, I'm not going to get many chances in this high of stakes to be able to prove that I'm worthy to be called on. So, I go out there, plus 2 of the numbers. I'm one-on-one. Now I know it was zone. So I run a little quick slant. And right when I run it, it just kind of just goes right there. But I see this guy kind of diving over me at the end. It's like his helmet because he's trying to take my face off because it is zone. But, end up scoring. We end up going to playoffs. And, that was a big one for me because I knew, one, all the unbelievable players there on the sideline, and then two, Drew called my name. Yeah. And because he believed in me. So, to be able to come through for your boys, come through for the guy who called your number and called your name was obviously life and career changer for me. So it was a big deal. You get
that respect instantly from your teammates.
Instantly, especially on touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to me, this is a play that stands out in my mind when I think about your success. Let me see.
As now Breeze rolls out on the bootleg.
Yeah.
Look at the
I knew you were going to load it.
The greatness. He just
The thing is, I was not even going low. So literally, I come up to Jimmy. I'm like, bro, why did you just jump over me? He's like, Roman, you were going to go low me. I'm like, no, I was not.
Bro, I just assumed you were. Right when I turned around, I saw 41. I was like, oh, he's going to cut my legs out. I know him. And then right about here, I was like,
didn't really go low. Jumped over you.
No, I was going to square him up.
My question to you, sir, what is running through your mind when he jumps over you? Well, like, what is you thinking?
Well, first of all,
as he just surfed on top of your head.
I was just going to Jimmy catches, okay, I'm just going to make the tackle. And then all of a sudden, I go and he just straight up leaps over the top of me. And I was like,
has that ever happened before? People jumping over you?
No, it's the only time anybody's ever jumped over me, actually. I give you props. Actually, nobody's
never happened to me.
No,
it's never happened.
I've never been jumped over.
Tackle.
Yeah, never. And
it just doesn't. Yeah, it just doesn't happen.
No, I love it. That actually never happened to me.
He's
before.
A baller.
And the fact that it happened early, I thought Jimmy had a fresh leg, so he could do it early in the game, not late.
What was that? 2014.
Yeah, that was 2014. The first time we played the Saints, I was really excited about playing against them again. They won that game, and in Carolina, and it was. He jumped over me so fast. I talked to him later on. I'm like, why the f did you jump over me, dog? Why you do me like that? He's like, bro, I thought you were going low. I'm like, dude, I wasn't even close to going low. I said, don't do that. I won't go low.
Is this after the game?
No, this is during the game.
No, during the game.
This is during the game.
I just assumed that he was going low.
Just have a bit all right, look, bro, I'm not going to jump over you if you don't go low again.
Facts.
Pretty much. Yeah, bro, don't be jumping over me looking like make me look stupid. Don't be doing that.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, bro, I'm not going to go low on you. Like, I get it, though. I get it. I
should have jumped over him again.
Yes, you have.
It was funny. I do get it when you say, I assume that you were just going to go low. I'm like,
well, I assume because, one, we practice against each other, me, you, and Mount, right? Yeah. And they were battles, right? Especially with Mount.
1,000%.
Right? That's why me and him got in so many fights.
1,000%.
We,
all the time.
It was bad. So I figured, especially watching film, I'm like, bro, I know he's coming in, we coming over there. And if I catch the ball over the middle and it's me and him, I know he's chopping my legs out and I'm gonna land right on my forehead. It's like, it's not happening. So I predetermined all that. But we're like, right when I saw 41, I was like, nah, he's not about to. Because you also, like, people realize, like, you were smacking people. You know, it's like
I smacked Ben Watson like later on in that game.
I know. That's why I said, bro, you should have jumped.
Yeah, dude. Man, that was yeah, you got me on that one, Thomas. Good job, dude. Yeah, I wasn't ready for it, and it's just funny because, like, I remember practicing against Jimmy so many times in practice because I always had to guard him, and that's when I knew him and Drew were going to be so good, just because they would literally. I'd ask Jimmy, I'm like, Jimmy, like, what route was that? He's like, dude, I mean, Drew kind of lets me just,
do me,
do him, and then just find it. I'm like, because I'll be guarding, I'm like, I don't even think that was a route. Like, I'm trying to, because I want to get better too. Yeah. I always was trying to help you out with things like, dude, I really liked how you set that up, this part.
He's out there freestyling.
By like year 3 with him and Drew, it was like freestyling out there, dude. Real talk. And we always had big time competition periods every Thursday and Friday. It was like big competition, ones versus ones.
Where somebody's running.
Yeah, we're like, and we won't say we had money on the line, but it was definitely a lot of trash talking on the line. Facts. And it was like, we're going at it. Yeah, a little 6'7" right there. Maybe. Okay, it was good. Dude.
I like that.
Was good.
Though.
I can't
it's good competition when you have that. I think the fighting brings out the competition. We had plenty of fights in Chicago with the offense, defense, and it's just like, because you're trying to, you're trying to embarrass the guy because he's trying to embarrass you. So that just brings out the competitive side of both players actually trying to get better. That's what makes us. That's what makes the league so competitive. You're on the team. You're on the 53-man roster, but we still gonna be competitive within the team. Yeah, I still want to be successful.
Yeah, but that's also like, as I got older, they changed a lot of that, right? There wasn't a lot of that going on. I mean, I got to Chicago, got in a fight, and it was like, what is going on here, right? There, I almost got like kicked out of practice. It was like a whole thing, and I'm just come from New Orleans, but we get 10 fights of practice, right? It's just how it was.
So what you're saying is you're coming from like an old school NFL, and then you go to a new team, whatever, and it was just like, wait, what? What are we doing? Because
things are changing. But like for me, an aspect is like, one, it's not going to be anything egregious. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to blindside somebody come out of nowhere, but if, there's a catch and he tackles me and we both get up, we John, something might happen. So in the end, I would find out quickly who the dogs were on the team. Right. Because I want to know before we get out there on Sunday.
You should have been there when I was there. Boy, we'd have been fighting all the time. We'd just been some dogs.
It'd have been just like me and Malcolm.
Yeah.
Me and Malcolm fought basically every day.
That was me and Brandon Marshall. We fought all the time.
Facts.
Every day.
Because we was just competing all the time, just fighting.
Okay. All right. Now, here we go. Let's jump into it. The same question I always ask Jimmy every time I see him. What are you up to these days? It's always something.
Everything. So I just got back from flight school. I was up in North Carolina getting trained in this thing, this helicopter. It's Airbus H-145 and got some night vision training. So I'm going to help out when there's like natural disasters as a helicopter pilot to like help bring food and get people out if they're stuck. So that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, honestly.
And if you're getting called into duty to maybe help, you'd come from here and go to wherever you're needed, and then you'll get up in the skies.
Yeah. So basically, the owner of the helicopter, I met him in Palm Beach. We do a lot of charity together. We help out a lot of veterans and kids. And so the last hurricane that went through North Carolina, he had some people up there helping out because all the roads were closed down. Yep. So basically, his aspect is anywhere really in America. What happens randomly is that the quick response teams, it takes them a bit to get there. So a lot of private citizens, they'll donate their plane, helicopter, and their pilots to try and help out. Because once these roads are closed down, there's no way in and out.
Yep.
People are starving. People, just the basic needs of like diapers, food, and water. And then if people are critical, you can take those people to a facility. I'm just excited to get the opportunity to like donate my time, and skill set to help people out. And
never seems to not surprise me.
I love it though. Call me, I'll fly with you. I'll be your wingman.
Let me know. Let me know.
Fun.
Let me know. I'll take care of you.
Totally do that in a heartbeat. You should do it. It's fun.
I don't know. Jimmy offered to fly me back home one time. Like, I still can never get over Jimmy flying a helicopter over the practice facility in New Orleans. Like, it's just like just random one day. It's just a helicopter right. I'm like, what the world's going on? Oh, it's Jimmy. Just up there.
I like that.
You let me know. All you gotta do is ask Vilma. Vilma came up and did aerobatics with me.
Oh,
and,
yeah?
Yeah, because he lost a bet to me. And he's terrified of flying. So he came up and, this thing's like an F1 race car with wings. And, at the end of it, he said, man, it's the most incredible thing I've ever done. I'll do this every week, every day I can. So, it's trust me, I'll take care of you, man. You have a good time.
Okay, deal.
And we'll put videos.
Okay, we'll do videos.
And I'll cut a video for you.
All right, deal.
That's dope. I know what we're doing tonight. I know exactly what we're doing tonight. We're doing it at nighttime too. White phosphorus. We're going to do it at nighttime. This summer you were busy. You were in the Arctic. You rode across the Arctic. I don't know how many miles it was, but I know it was something far and it was something cold.
Yeah. So basically this thing was called the Arctic Challenge 2025. There was 4 of us on the boat. One of my best friends, Andrew Trope, former Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6, and we were at obviously a pub and talked about doing something like this, and then it came about. So how can I describe the difficulties of this? So basically, like last November is when I decided, okay, there's a lot going on here. I really need to take hold of some of the responsibilities as far as navigation, comms, and weather. Obviously from living on a sailboat and flying helicopters and planes, I understand quite a bit about that, but this is not a new level, So basically I spent 3 months reading everything I could about the weather up there, the ocean state, the sea state. And then I even flew to London to meet with our weather modeler. And so a weather model basically is an outlook on what could happen based on what's currently happening. So low pressure, high pressure system, ISO bars, and then things at certain levels, winds, wind gusts, and then you have currents, and then you have swells. And all those things come into factor when you're rowing a boat that goes 2 knots and it weighs 800 pounds. So it was intense.
Have you fully decompressed from coming off of this adventure?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, really, it took me about a month to get my sleep back, so some of the complications of this is if you take one of the things that we had to go through, it would be probably the hardest thing you've ever done. But now you compound on top of that 10 more things, like just sleep alone. The longest I slept in 10 days, consecutive minutes, was 43 minutes. Because we're an hour and a half on, an hour and a half off. And I have a lot of jobs where I have to put a satellite out, upload, take videos for a weather modeler, send it to him. We'll talk about the course and what we should do and some of the things coming up. And then my calorie burn was 85-ish, 100 calories a day. So I was intaking, 10, 11,000 calories as I could. I actually got saved by a cyclist that I cycle with. He basically guided me on what he's done to help his gut because, intaking that many calories that is like freeze dry food is so difficult and it's really hard for you. What really saved me was instant mashed potatoes. You've never had a meal like instant mashed potatoes when you are that hungry, tired, wet, and cold. It literally brought my spirits up at times.
So how do you get instant mashed potatoes in the Arctic?
You cook it.
Yeah, Uber. No. So basically, so the setup is we have to carry everything we need on the boat to be able to last us what could possibly be 20 days. There's some people that just finished a row. I forget, it was like South America, maybe to Australia. That took them like 5-6 months. So you have to carry that much like food and all these extra parts in case something goes wrong. So basically the boat is just like every little cabin is just full of all these food and snacks and everything because you basically are in zone 2 training 12 hours a day. So, stopping you from cramping and just getting blown up and, just dying, you really need to intake those calories. But the biggest thing is our water, is the ability to make water. So we have a water maker there. And so every other shift change, we have to basically make water, fresh water for the food to heat it up in these burners. So not only, like, let's say there was two big fronts that came through. The second one was the worst for us. It was, I would say 20 to 25 foot like swells. Mm-hmm. The winds were like 28.
I just got seasick.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you.
I just got seasick.
It was crazy. It was 28 gusting, 38 or 44, something like that. And, the entire time, you're trying to keep the boat straight out of the wind when it wants to point to the wind. But really, like when you make your food, the couple in the back, their job was heating up the water. So we're hitting these swells and they're, basically turning on a burner and, making boiling water, then passing it down. So, I mean, everything that you could think of made this thing absolutely just torturous.
Have you ever, so before this, have you ever seen or been in a 25-foot swell?
No.
Or, okay. Because the first time you see this.
Oh, yeah. No. Well, I have been in some really bad weather, right?
Yeah.
Obviously in a plane and just from the sailboat stuff, transporting sailboat back and forth or, going out. But, that's a 62-foot yacht, what I mean? So it's very stable. But the principles of this, I had to study quite a bit to make sure that I understood which way we need to point it on the wave. And then based on if we can, what we need to do, either throw out this thing called a pair anchor or a drogue. So the drogue stops you. Basically, if the swells get too big, you pull a drogue out, which is behind this little boat. And it allows you to go up and down these waves straight. Because if they get too big and you go down straight, the whole boat will jackknife and roll down what is technically a mountain of water. And then everybody's strapped on outside. Who knows what's going to happen? You're probably going to get hit by something. So, this was by far the most dangerous thing I've ever done in my life, like in every way possible. Yeah, but I'm here.
I like it. Mine was nowhere near what you did. I did Lake Michigan. I rode Lake Michigan, and we just did ours in a day. We just did it nonstop. So we never got a chance to sleep. We just did it a full 24 hours, which was...
It was still a beast.
It's still a beast, don't get me wrong. Yeah, still a beast, but we looked at the weather and was like, all right, the current's this way. We should go now. And we moved ours up a day just because... The way the the way the current was going, like if I wanted to go straight, I had to really turn the boat that way to end up going that way. 100%. And we learned early. We took a break. We took like a 10-minute break, and we started to sail, and we drifted back a mile. Yeah. So what we did was we had a
pair anchor,
a chase boat with us. So whenever we would like take a 10-minute break, we would just anchor to that boat, and they would just kind of hold us in place, and we would just kind of keep going. But
so for us, we had to we had nobody around us, so we had to throw out a pair anchor. So the pair anchor really stops you from basically drifting like that much. But like to talk about how difficult this was, it was some of the worst things was in the cabin, because you have to keep it sealed. Your breath is creating this humidity, so all the walls are just dripping water. So everything in the cabin is completely soaking wet. So you've been on deck getting hit by waves. Now you take that stuff. It's freezing cold out there. Then you take that off and you get in this waterproof sleeping bag, but kind of everything is wet, and just being like that, not showering for 10 days. And then having to use a bathroom in a bucket is tough. It's a definitely humbling experience in many ways.
Did everyone leave the boat, the inside of, we'll call it the cockpit? Did everyone leave the cockpit when a person had to use the bathroom?
Oh, no. So the setup of this boat is there's a cabin on both ends of it, then there's 3 little kind of like rowing seats. The back seat we actually took out, and that's where the bucket was.
Oh, okay. So you're outside. So
if you can imagine, like, it took me 72 hours to be able to use the bathroom, right? Because of the way we're eating, and I could barely sleep for the first 72 hours trying to get us, because I actually decided to take a different route than anybody had ever gone before, for reasons that I believe will work better, based on what I know about weather and winds. And so it was very intense, first 48, 72 hours. And so imagine, like let's say it's gusting 20 and it's, overcast. You can't, it's cold, it's raining, these big old waves are coming out. And basically you have to, just walking along the side of this, you have to have 3 points of contact or you'll fall in the water. Yeah. So now you're like, all right, I'm gonna use the bathroom, and you got to kind of get behind everybody. And then you're wearing all these layers. So now you got to figure out your way out of some of these. And then you got this little bitty bucket. I'm a grown ass man. So now I'm trying to figure out, as you're holding on to these deals, Yeah, you know,
It wasn't that fun.
it wasn't it. It wasn't it.
Oh, hold on, I got one more. Sleeping. Talk about the sleeping arrangements. Like you kind of went into it, but give me a little bit more detail. Like where and how did you sleep? Like I do a set of rowing, or I do a shift of rowing. I do my hour and 12, hour and a half. I come back inside. Do you leave all that on? Do you take all that off? Do you just get in your sleeping bag? Like, explain that setup.
So basically, you know, you've been on an hour and a half cranking as hard as you can, right? For the most part, in a zone 2, zone 3, depending on where the weather is. So the cabin door opens up and I see my friend and he's smiling and I just tell him I hate him because I'm miserable at the time. And then so he climbs out, you kind of get in there, and right when you get into the front door, you kind of take off your big jacket and a bib. And me and him figured out, because my hands were freezing cold, even though I played in Green Bay, I'm just not built for that stuff. You know, I'm more of a Miami guy. So we would actually use the same gloves so that the gloves are warm when you first got out there. So basically, I get in there, I look at weather, winds, I send some stuff to weather modeler, I make sure everything's good, eat a little bit, and now I try to set an alarm, because the biggest thing is you don't want to be late for the next shift.
Right.
Because
be a good teammate.
Yeah.
Or like a bad teammate.
Yeah. And when you're sleep deprived and you're hungry and you're cold and you're wet, I mean, the last thing in your mind is thinking is be a good teammate. It's like, let me just get 10 more minutes, you know? So basically you have to sit in there and the boat's rocking, and then at our feet, like I was too big to actually stretch out on the boat. So, you know, I'm trying to find a position that doesn't also, in front of us is this like rudder. So it's our auto tiller technically, but if you touch it, it'll just fall off. And now the boats just start doing circles. Now you got to open the door, reset everything. And also that thing is insanely loud. So our cabin, because of all carbon fiber, you can barely hear. This thing is so loud. So I would try and lay down and try to make myself fall asleep. And, you know, next thing I know, it'd be like 30 minutes later, this alarm would go off and there's nothing in your body that wants to get up. Like no part of you. I mean, you're hurting so bad. But, you know, then again, I got to go there for my boy. So I put my stuff on, kick the door open, look at him smiling. So, yeah, it was crazy.
Put on that fake smile.
Yeah.
So you go 10 days straight.
Yeah.
Because I'm still just trying to get a vision of all of this.
Yeah.
I can't believe you did another wild thing, but yes, I can actually. I can't believe that. So but you're just rotating the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's 3 that are rowing.
No, it's 2 on, 2 off.
So it's 2 on, 2 off.
Yep.
And you guys, somebody's rowing for 10 straight days.
Yes.
All the time.
Yep. The boat's moving.
Yeah, the boat's moving.
Mm-hmm.
And you went a total of 584 miles.
Yeah.
Nautical miles.
Yeah.
Nautical
miles.
There's a difference?
Big difference. Yeah.
Just keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's a whole nother conversation.
Keep
Don't
going.
know.
Keep going.
What is the difference?
So there's miles and nautical miles. One is different. I mean, nautical miles was set up back in the day because they used to use knots on a rope, and it's historic. And that's what they use not only for sailing, but for flying.
All right. At this moment, you got about this video.
Yeah.
How are you feeling at this moment?
Me, miserable, cold.
You look
Yeah. I'm like you can't see much of my face, you know, like I'm trying to cover up as much as humanly possible. And not only that, but you know, you're not washing your face, you get wind blasted. So all this, like your skin is starting to peel off. You know, like the skin on your hands is starting to peel off. So, and right about here, this is like after halfway, this is right when my SI joint and my back started like acting up. So, you know, not only that, I'm suffering, you know, I've had reconstructive wrist surgery. I've had reconstructive right knee surgery. You know, I've had a lot of injuries in my past. And so right about halfway is when I really started feeling a lot of those injuries.
Now, this is with
so
85
no one's-
miles left.
Did they teach y'all how to feather? The feathering with did y'all start that first?
Yeah. So like if you're like a really sculling, then you feather. But with this, you don't.
It was a straight rope.
Yeah, because they're so high. So you don't really need to feather. And really that constant motion for 10 days, you're not gonna be able to keep that up.
Gotcha. Didn't know nothing about that, did you?
I don't even know what feathering means. I have no idea.
I found out last year.
Okay. I was like, I don't even know what that means. I don't even feel bad.
What was the first thing you did when you got off the boat?
Man, well, so NFL Films was there.
Okay.
So we're going to see that at some point this season.
I got you.
I have no idea what I said. I have no idea. I was like hallucinating at that point. But basically, so I get off this boat, there's all these cameras around, and I hadn't stood up in 10 days. And, you know, being on the wave, so I just fell down. Like I couldn't use my legs for the first time. it felt like, like after a major surgery, I mean, you just have no strength and no like stability in your inner ear. And then basically we got what we could. We got in about like 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We found a hotel.
AM or PM?
PM.
Okay.
But so it's 24 hours daylight. So, it hasn't been dark yet. Even when you're in a cabin, it's still light.
Yeah.
So we basically go to the hotel. Nothing's really open because we're in this place called Svalbard, which is, it's like a glacier island. So it was a wild place to see because there's so many different people there from different continents because you don't really need a visa to go there and work. So it's a very international place where there's doing a lot of studying on, ice, climate change and all these things. So a lot of brains there. But we get to a hotel. My secretary was working on a hotel and flights 24 hours once we saw land because we couldn't see land, even though we're beside it for 3 days in its fjords, we couldn't see it because there's fog for 3 days. So we get to the hotel and the only place open is a pizza place. So I order 4 large pizzas and we all sit down outside and destroy, but the number one thing I did when I went back to the room was I took a shower for an hour. I just sat there, man. It's like, just having a warm shower was probably one of the best things I've ever gotten in my life because, you've been without it for so long.
How emotional. So I can relate to the whole not walking for 10 days. I just did it for a day and I got very emotional toward the end. Once I could see land, we're about 2-3 miles away. I got really emotional. NFL films that were there for mine. So I remember I started crying and I remember why I was doing it. We did it for like neuroblastoma cancer research. Yeah. And we had all these names of these kids that have passed away, a few kids that have passed away from neuroblastoma. Mm-hmm. And I just remember I got so emotional and I was sleep deprived and I was just like, F you cancer. And I'm crying. Yeah. And then I get on shore and I fall. I just laid there. Yeah. It's just like my legs are tired. 100%. The difference though is maybe a week after I did the row, I had a blood clot in my calf that went up into my lungs and damn near killed me. And I was hospitalized for like a day or two. Like, so that was my experience from rowing.
Yeah,
you did it way
better.
Yeah. You did it. I'm laughing because I survived death. Yeah. That's why I'm laughing. I'm not like I almost died. I'm sad. No, I'm laughing because I survived. Okay, and I'm still here to slap you in your chest. That's why I'm still here.
I appreciate it.
Well, like talking about like getting emotional, I'm pretty sure I did as well. Like whenever the cameras came, I really don't remember what I said, but midway through is this island that we really try to stay away from called Bear Island. And we're halfway through. That's when Hannah passed out letters that the Covenant House had done. And it was all the kids that we were rowing for to raise some money. So everybody kind of read a letter, and it really centered things to really why we're there, what we were doing, why we were suffering. And then once we touched shore, it was like, I wasn't even thinking really about myself. It just reminded me, of really, who we did it for, why we're out there, why would, this big idiot be up in the Arctic Ocean freezing and suffering like that. And it's really to inspire the kids, and to give them opportunities, to live a better life and to get out of the situation. I was one of those kids. And so every time I do something, I usually tag on and make sure that I do something for, youth, who are suffering like I did when I was a kid. So, that for me was the biggest thing. And it's hard to talk about even now, because that's what's the most important part about this entire venture was, creating these opportunities and inspiring the youth.
Out of all the adventures that you've done, what's been the most, comparing with this one, what's been like the best lesson learned, something that you've learned about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I hate cold weather. I know that now.
No doubt.
I think, when I was younger, I did a lot of things, for myself. I had a lot of my own goals, and some of those goals I fell short. Short of. Coming out of high school, and even in college, and when I stopped falling short is when I started doing it for a bigger purpose. And that's one of the reasons why I've been on this grind for so long. Trying to do so much for the kids is because I realize, how important that why is. And, it motivates me every day to get up and, to push myself and to become a better person and to try and, bring light on certain issues. So I would say, really my motivations in life have changed dramatically, and it's through these experiences. So I've learned so much for doing, the more I do for others, really the more I'm doing for myself. The more healing I'm doing for myself from my childhood, the more healing I'm doing for myself from falling short in many ways in my life. So for me, that's been one of the biggest things that I've gotten out of this and many of the things that I've done in my life.
I love you hearing you say that, Jimmy. Because I know your background.
Yeah.
I know your family upbringing.
Yeah.
I know your family that brought you in and like how much they meant to you and all that other stuff. And I know how much your personal goals have mattered to you. Yeah. Like the things that you've tried to go and achieve, and from the whole battle of are you a tight end or wide receiver to like all of these things. Yeah. And then the injuries from Seattle. Yeah. And I knew how much you wanted to go out there and crush and do these things. And so to hear you say like, no, actually, like the more I've tried to do for myself, the more I've fallen short. Yeah. But I've never fallen short when I try and do something for somebody else.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, when I was younger, and then many times, and throughout many periods of my life, I always felt like, it was me versus the world. That's how you end up suing the NFL. Yeah, that's how you end up getting traded. Is, when you try to always live like that, and then eventually I kind of flipped it, and now it's like me, and I got a little army behind me of the reasons I'm doing stuff. That extrinsic motivation, and it really has molded me and changed me a lot as a human being. As I was pretty intense when I was young.
No doubt. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, I love a little bit. Yeah. Like this is really an evolved version of yourself, bro. Like this is awesome. Yeah. Most of us, including myself, aren't even to where you are right now, and so I'm thankful. That
do an adventure like that. I promise you will get there.
Oh yeah, it's going. So. If you want to.
Oh, no. I don't. Get there. I don't. I'm telling you right now.
No, I can make that happen next year if you want. It's, really, what I've realized is that, when you push yourself to a level of extreme exhaustion, like to what you think is your limit, that's when you really find out who you are. Yeah. Right. When life's always comfortable, maybe some things might pass by and some character leaks or, maybe some laziness kind of happens. But when you're pushed to that level, you have to make a decision. And when you're at that decision point, that's when you really find out who you are.
I'm just so impressed.
Next time you want to do something crazy, call me. I'll do it.
I got you.
I'm gonna say I'll look for shit to do like this. Yeah. I'll be trying to up the game, and I know I'm 44, but I just be like, what can I do to push myself? Yeah. Like the high rocks, I'm doing high rocks, right? And you just like, but why? I'm like, I just want to push myself a little bit. I just want to see,
Yeah. Well, first thing you got to do is come fly with me.
I'm game.
And I'll show you some stuff.
I'm game. I'm like this close of getting into flight school. I'm thinking about doing one back home and learning how on a small plane first.
Yeah, learning planes. Well, everybody has to. So let me know, and I'll look at the school. I'll make sure the maintenance and the planes are right. Yeah. I'll talk to the instructors, make sure they're good, and then you'll learn a little bit, and then I'll show you how to flip a plane. It'll be easy.
I'm so game.
Okay.
All right, so Jimmy, the other question I always ask you: what's next? What's your new adventure? What do you have going on? I know you always have something going on. So share with the world.
I mean, right now, really just focus on business. I started like a lending company back in 2018. We basically it's a short-term lending company. And now we're in the process of buying a bank. So there's some due diligence period that goes on with that. And it's under a national flag, but we really are just trying to just have a better community bank down here in South Florida, that's fully integrated, provides everything like a big bank does. And really just focusing on that and the debt fund. I'm also part of a venture capital fund out of DC called Flintlock with a former SOCOM pilot. Joe Shamus is his name. And so for me right now, I was just kind of focusing on business. I was blessed enough, like when I was younger, because of guys like you, many guys on the team were always already established when I came on the team, and really, especially Vilma, really pressed upon me, understanding cash flow, where my money's going, where to invest it, and how to do it, who to talk to, how you need to educate yourself in that. I'm not going to blindly give my money to somebody when 6 months of studying, I can truly understand where that money's going, what questions to ask, and understand, what my biggest issue right now currently is, which is taxes and fees, right? I need to make sure I'm paying as least amount of taxes and fees as humanly possible, especially if you're in, like the market, right? So I was always in like ETFs, the S&P 500, just doing things kind of smartly. And I was able to do that because I had unbelievable mentors in the business space, but really teammates that were also doing that. Marcus Colson, right?
Colson's done amazing.
Just like it was interesting because that team was so unique. The Seattle Seahawks, right? That whole team, like they have a little group together and they all invest together on projects, right? So, being a part of these great teams where a lot of guys, Aaron Rodgers, right? He is very, very busy in that space. Drew Brees as well. So, I had great mentors in that. And so really moving on to that. But right now, gearing up to eventually start doing air shows. I'm trying to find the right platform. I know that we're going to end up getting a Combat Lear jet, which used to fly air shows with Clay Lacy and Joe Clark. It's a beast. It's basically a little private jet that does rolls and loops and does aerobatics. But really, one of the things that I can't replace is entertaining people, right? Like I remember like being able to go back to New Orleans and score again in that stadium. They're none better. They're none better in life. Like to go one-on-one against a grown man, or really they were kids at that moment, right? Yeah. He's like 10 years younger than me, and tell him, yeah, I'm getting the ball, and just jump over him. And in the crowd, teammates, I'm headbutting people. There's nothing that can really replace that, right?
Yeah.
And that's a problem for me because I scored so many times in the NFL. It's because I was addicted to that feeling. Yeah. So for me, I think, really continuing to push myself in aviation, to do some air shows in front of crowds and be able to, continue with the program I have with the kids with Young Eagles. But in the end, there are some things on the horizon. I think one day I'd love to sail around the world solo. And then when it comes to the next big event, me, Luke Wilson, NHL guy, and maybe my Navy SEAL boy, maybe you, we might do the Ram race across America. Which is on bikes. It's from the West Coast to the East Coast, 3,000 miles. So,
I do that.
I was wondering. I was like, I can do that. He's going to definitely cycle Florida.
I was not
all the way.
All the way.
The whole set. I was like, hope you don't say me for selling around the world. I don't want to. Biking, yes. Land.
You love that.
You.
Now, you should look this up. It is one of the most brutal. I think the solo person, like the record's like 6 days or something like that.
Across the U.
Yeah, 3,000 miles.
America?
You're not stopping, bro. This is one of the hardest.
Is it a relay or is it all for individual?
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get Peloton. I got.
There's a team.
I gotta get on it.
They have like basically 1, 2, 4, and I think maybe 8, and then there's like mixed gender and like all these other things. So I'm gonna figure out what's best for whoever is willing to do this with me. They're gonna raise some money.
Absolutely.
And this trip will be probably the funniest thing you've ever been a part of, because Luke Wilson is probably one of the funniest people you've ever been around. He is absolutely hilarious. His NHL boy, equally as funny, and Andrew Trope is equally as funny. So you basically have, it's basically like a little frat team biking across America. So it's gonna be cool.
That's dope. That's dope. My last and final question is, we asked all of our guests this question. Mount Rushmore, you get 4 people to pick that have helped you turn you into the guy you are today. It could be on the field, off the field, just 4 people that had a positive influence on you in your life.
Wow.
Who would those 4 people be?
There's probably 20. Becky Vincent, the lady took me into high school. Mm-hmm. I owe her a lot, and she believed in me when no one did. And gave me a roof over my head. And, she's the first person to tell me I'm smart. And then so I started believing it. Now, I'm still an idiot, but I can read and remember.
That mattered to you, though.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Tammy Meyerson, she unfortunately passed away 3 months after I got traded to Seattle. Tammy was my manager, and I've been a part of her family. She took me in, and she's the one who taught me business. And she opened my eyes to, how I needed to see certain things, and introduced me to a lot of amazing people, a great community down here in Miami that I'm still close with today. There's so many people. one of the bigger influences on myself and my career, really, it's hard to split them up, but Jonathan Vilma. I came in as a young basketball player, and my last day, my rookie year, Jonathan Vilma says, "You gonna be back in Miami?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I start working out in a week, and if you follow me, I'll get you paid." So you fast forward to when I sued the NFL, Jonathan Vilma, he told me, he said, "Listen, I told you that if you follow me, I'm gonna get you paid. So I'm gonna finish what I started. So until you get paid, I'm gonna work out with you every day." So he worked out with me every day for 6 months and then retired after I got paid. He was a true leader. We had many leaders on that team.
Mm-hmm. He's a true leader.
No, so were you. And that's what's so unique about that team, as well as like the Legion of Boom, is there was not just one leader. I mean, there was a leader at every position, right? And that's what made those teams special. Wow. There's too many people to name at the end.
It is. It's a tough question. 100%. It's a tough question.
Too many people.
But you got one more. What you got?
Really, with my career, I would say Drew Brees. He had no reason to, explain to me what he thought I could be my first day on the job. He had no reason to call my name against Atlanta with all those proven players in there, chancing a lot, right? To believe in a kid like me who wasn't a football player, who still didn't understand what defenses were, right? I was still trying to just line up in the right space and run the right route at the right depth. So last year, being able to induct him to the Saints Hall of Fame was a special moment for me. I couldn't really hold the emotions back, obviously. And neither could he, because I think, we both know how special that moment was. Those moments that we had together were for each other. Because I really didn't have, a lot of family growing up. So, for him, I always felt like he was my older brother. And the way he put confidence in me, so yeah.
Well, man, good job, Jimmy.
I appreciate it.
Man, dude.
I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for coming out again, man.
Man, Jimmy, man, you know how much I love you, dog. Appreciate it, man. Dude, you're awesome, man. And you're always keeping us so entertained about everything you're doing. And I just love that you have reached the point where it's no longer about you, and that you really have found joy in trying to do things for others, and that you really like, man, that's a real goal, and you've never fallen short when you do that. So I'm gonna take that with me.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate both of you guys. One for the battles that we had, and really the leadership, man. It's when I met you, you were almost like a grown man. I thought because of gray hair, but really how you handle yourself, man, as a leader, right? It really inspired me a lot. Really taught me a lot and really humbled me in many ways, especially watching you go back to New Orleans. Yeah. Right. It was a big reason I did, so I appreciate that. I appreciate that because I really needed that at the time. So thank you.
No doubt, bro. No doubt, man. Well, thank you, man, for and Jimmy, man, for sure, man. You know that. For all you guys, listeners, and where you pick up your podcast at, whether you're watching it or listening.
Put my leg up too.
Put it on up there, man. We appreciate it, man. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, review, leave a couple comments for us. Make sure you hit that follow button too. And whether you listen at iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, please tune in and continue to tell a friend to what, Peanut?
Tell a friend.
There we go, man. Get us out of here.
I'm Peanut. That's Roman. That's Jimmy G. And we out. And this is the NFL Players Second Acts Podcast. We out.